Hey, it's the intro every single time. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, and welcome. Hey, I am Denise of Cardell Divas, and to my right,
Good
Una,
evening. I am April Cobb with April's Beauty Bar, and we are Diversity and Equity in Education, and we're being hosted by.
the fantastic and phenomenal Bianca Goolsby of Teaching for the Culture. Thank you so much, and welcome this evening. Haven't seen you all in a while, and so look, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Especially about the current climate that's taking place. But first of all, April, aren't you excited about having tomorrow off? That's the first
Yes,
thing.
God. Yes. Listen, when we approached or began this week, it was already a blessing because we knew, and we as every employee in Hillsborough County, that we were approaching 4 days of freedom, mental freedom, especially since we're working to the contract, being that we walked away with the most insulting
Mm-hmm.
so-called increase in pay for
That's
teachers.
right.
Well, for some of us, I've never seen anything like what?
Yes, right,
Who,
right.
who thought that ish
Who?
made sense? And what's so disturbing by it all is that union, union.
Right.
It's the same plan that they said before y'all came this time and accepted it. It's like y'all playing in our faces. Like, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Do something. More aggressive
And
media, more aggressive conversations outside of in those boardrooms, because at this point it's clear that those meetings are coming off as pointless. And that's my opinion. I have it as I reviewed in my profile that as of 1998 I began working in this district, so my 24-year-old self can say it and I meant it. Some of y'all still coming in these positions and playing games because you are now at a benefit, so you don't have a loud enough voice for the other people that's been in this thing in the trenches for a while. Over it. It's a bunch of BS.
correct. I absolutely agree because first of all, why people? And here's the thing: why are people even paying into the unions? That's my primary question because you ain't doing nothing for me. Other unions that take out dues and fees and things like that, they could effect change. If you tell the garbage collectors in New York right now to go on strike for a higher pay raise, all they got to do is stop picking up trash for 3 days. And that place gonna be funkin', and they're gonna turn around and so I just don't understand why is it that this is a position that requires so much, but is micromanaged so heavily, and then the money. I mean, the money. We don't get into some great detail in terms of what how the micromanagement taking place, but I don't know what they're doing because the amount of money that they put forth to share to tell us that this is what the increase would be. So that's some people mortgage. That's actually a mortgage. Some people who paying a rent, that's actually their rent. And then on top of that, gonna be insulting to the fact that you're gonna tax it. So when you take the taxes out of it, I mean really, what bill are you paying? For
But
some people,
when
that's
Denise, they're going to embed it in a week that it would be a pay week. So it wouldn't be viewed
right.
as, that exponential tax we get when it's outside of that. But the point that's being need to be said is that they think it's a crisis now. Don't
Hmm.
complain, the majority, when when these teachers continue to stroll out of here in groves, and all
Right.
of your children's core teachers are all subs and they show up when it's convenient. Don't complain. And keep in mind, your
Right.
children are still required to take the EOCs and the standardized testing that's
Yeah.
required of them from the Department of Education. Please don't that same whisper spirit that you have now, because right now we should have a community that's up in an uproar as it relates to the
Hmm.
lack of increase of pay for educators here in Hillsborough County. we always use that language. We're the largest, we're the 7th largest in the nation.
Largest school district. Mm-hmm. The 7th
Yes.
largest, and yet, right, and yet, and another thing,
We're number
parents,
46
you
in pay.
and right, all the way to the bottom, and count them out because there's 50 states, right? Okay, so just and parents will complain, and there's just a set that's complaining about, oh, we don't have this, we don't have that, or I can't wear a mask, can't have all this stuff. But what's going to happen when you don't have the teachers in the classroom? Because right now the teachers are going. I mean, I look around my school. There's positions that are like being almost permanently filled with subs. And this past week, we had every single social studies teacher out. So I want you to think about this. Put a picture in your mind from grade 6 to 8. There was not a single person on campus that taught social studies. That's a core subject, and your children still got to take that test. So it's really important that you understand how impactful that is to your child. And of course, now think about it. All this, oh, the teachers need to teach. Teachers need to teach. Well, where are they? And if it's that big and that monumentous of a deal, you should be out there fighting for the teachers, fighting to say, okay, get these teachers a little bit more paid, because for the abuse that you take and the the challenges that's brought upon, the increase of multiple levels, and I'm talking about educational levels within the same classroom. And you have to diversify, and then you're going to remove their the resources, and you can't have this, you can't have that, and now you got to continue to teach. And then where's the money though? Where's the money? Because I think that a lot of people believe that, because I was corrected last week too. I was thinking the subs got a little bit more, but okay, but I thought the subs got a little bit more, but what I'm noticing is that the subs, actually got less than what I was thinking. So if you think about a minimum wage, where some people think minimum wage is right now, minimum wage still doesn't even cover, even $15, $16 an hour ain't gonna cover. Go ahead, April.
All I know is that we are faced with a crisis in Hillsborough County of individuals not being able to afford rent. It was already a stress area in the in specific households. Now, because we don't have a cap or some type of plan already in place as it relates to capping the increase that can be placed on an individual that own properties, you have individuals that no longer have anywhere to go. And we can see it in the schools where kids are now moving, but they're not moving to a new location. They're now moving to their cars. They're now moving to family members. They're now moving to hotels because the rent increase they cannot afford to pay when it's time to renew the leases. And I don't even know where to begin in that conversation, because I just think that our government, local government, should have had something in place to where things like this just does not happen to a entire population of people that are considered the working poor. So they make too much to be in public housing, but they can't afford traditional housing. I just don't understand that, but I think we're going to see a domino effect of that, and it's going to definitely create a high impact on children, where parents cannot afford for their kids, provide residence for their kids, because income tax is coming. Yep, and we know during this time, Denise, we see a lot of parents move, and when they get their new income tax and so on and so forth. But now it's going to become a point of that's not even enough, because once they use that lump sum to pay the deposit and the first and last, then where they're going to get the money from to move forward. So it's just going to be a temporary solution. So I hope that we can come up with a solution. I know the city of Tampa, they've been having meetings around it. I know Councilman Louis Vieira has been bringing about that conversation to the community and to the board, but I don't know what has come of it. But I know there are people in panic mode, and keep in mind, where there's poverty, there's an increase in crime.
Exactly. And we're seeing it. We've seen it. Ooh, Lord, we're seeing it here in East Tampa. But that is true, and we don't. That's the trauma that comes into the school as well. So you see kids just come in there just angry. I don't know about you, but I mean, I've just seen kids just angry for no reason, just hostile, and well, to the outside it may be for no reason, but there's always something behind it, and a lot of them just they have no control of what's happening inside of the home. So that then spills over and manifests itself inside of the classroom, but. And that just overall looks at the climate. So let's talk for a second about the climate in the school itself. Like how what's the morale look like in school?
Well, if we're speaking from through the lens let's look at all the lenses to the best of our ability based on our experiences. And we always say that it's based on our experiences. Cannot take those away. These are our reality. So if we look at it from a lens of, start with the lens of the students. I know the students are frustrated because with the lack of structure, that becomes behavior issues in the classrooms amongst their peers, and the lack of structure for those students that need it, it becomes a playground for them, and then it spirals out of control. And then it leads to excessive calls to parents. Then it leads to parents now want to blame the teachers because it has to be the teacher that's picking on their child that has been to multiple schools that demonstrated these same behaviors, but it have to be the teacher versus identifying that there is a problem with the child's behavior, and due to the lack of structure for the majority of their day, it's now leading to a place where the child can't find a balance in the school day because they don't know when to turn it on and turn it off as it relates to the playfulness, as it relates to the responsibility of coming in to do the work to the best of their ability, and so on and so forth. So that's my perspective when it comes to the student, looking through it from the student lens. And how do we fix it? Is there a solution anytime soon? No, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Unfortunately, that's the reality. And for those that have this magical wand and can fix it and have all these strategies, we would love to welcome them into the spaces and see if they can make them work. Because in theory, they sound good, but when it comes to application, it's called what the older guy, I think he passed away now. The song with the old guys say, "Hell no." To the
No, to the no.
hell to the no. It ain't happening. That's the reality.
You're absolutely right. And listen, we can't be. And here's the thing: we can't be. We can expect more from our kids if we're not willing to pour more in. So if we notice the behavior is going to be off the chain. I mean, like we have kids who will just be wanderers. They're wandering around up and down at school, all over campus. But my thing is, yeah, obviously they belong in a class. Obviously, they need to have get some work done. And then when you send people in, because right now everybody's subbing. Well, let me say this: most people in our school are subbing. Okay, because there's still some that still haven't pulled themselves out the office, but most of them are subbing. Now, what I find real interesting is some people, when you put them in there, are saying, "Am I going to go in there the whole period? Are they going to be there? Am I supposed to be there with the kids? Are you afraid of our children? How we go to the battlefield every single day, but you scared to go in there for 20 minutes? That's a problem. That's a real real problem for me. If you are the counselor, the psychologist, the school nurse, I mean whoever. But wait a minute, we need help. So can you please provide the help? That's where we're coming from. But understand, going back to the original issue of morale. I mean, I think everybody's burnt out. Everyone is everyone is really struggling. I mean, even though it was a 4-day work week last week and it's going to be a 4-day work week this week, I, the exhaustion that you feel, it's exhausting because yes, the behaviors are getting worse. And if anyone want to say it's not a tough job because of the behaviors, yes, they are. They're getting really, really out of hand. They're kids who will just do crazy things for no reason just because they can. They can walk out the class because their sub might not have a control of the classroom, so they'll just walk out the class and go up and down the halls and just hang out. I've literally watched the same child go to the bathroom, 6 periods in one day. And I'll just be peeping out the, just peeping out the door because each door has glass. And I'm just like, I saw this child second period, third period, fifth period, sixth period, seventh period. Yeah, is your bladder that weak? Now you may have a medical issue, true, but most of the time they're not going to the bathroom. They're just wandering, peeping in the windows, kicking on the doors, just to see because I can leave the class. So so that is straining on teachers when you're trying to keep the kids all having them do the right thing, keep them engaged, keep them doing their work, but you're not seeing the help, and of course you're not getting the additional help that you need from admin because admin is putting out fires here, there, everywhere. They're doing the best that they can. So I mean, I don't know about how other people feel. If people can chime in and let us know what's the morale look like at your school, but I know for a fact that yeah, it's not. Yeah, let's just say this: a pizza party and some ice cream it ain't gonna fix the problem for teachers.
Gretchen says this is why teachers all move on to better things. Yes, a lot of them definitely are doing that, Gretchen. Some of us are vested in these children. It's so easy to just walk away. That's the easy part, would be to walk away and be like, I got to take care of just me. But for those of us that have grit in this, those of us that have been doing this for a long time, we're committed to the end. We all in at this point. We all in. Diana Williamson says, just living in some neighborhoods around certain things in the neighborhoods can cause anger. Most definitely. Denise have shared, and I have also shared as well, that not only do we live in the East Tampa area, but I have family members in the East Tampa area. We know, we see it, and that goes back to the funding that is identified a need to be placed back into the community, and then we see so much of the negative that spirals out of these areas, but we don't see the heavily import of the funds to create programs, to create opportunities, that the people want, not what they say they think the people need, but what the people want. So it is what it is. Gretchen says, even Rep Hart and Susan Valdez knows about the rent and housing and Hillsborough County Public Schools. Of course they know. That's without question. We all know. Now the question is, what do we do? Where's the application? Because we have heard now, I think this will be our 2.5 year about the same scenario that goes on with the gun violence. And then, they come on in the media and say, we're going to, in the future, be having more discussion around bringing solutions to this matter. And after the gun violence died down a little bit, then, I mean, Denise, you're in the heart of it. Do you ever get robocalls? Do you ever get anything in the mail? Do you ever get any requests for input? Like, do you get any of that as in the heart of East Tampa? Because I always ask my cousin them, I always ask my friend, like none of them. So do you get anything in response to after just getting the media influx for the moment?
No, it's very momentary, and all I will get is well, like I said before, I'll get plenty of calls and things in the mail about buying your house, or you have a house for sale. I mean, they'll call you almost every day for that. They'll send you actual pictures of your house. My thing is like this. I said, well, why? You want to buy a house but for what reason? What's the point of trying to buy a house when it's still the area is high crime? So I'm still trying to figure that part out. But they're not addressing the issue at hand, and there are children that live everywhere in these neighborhoods, everywhere. So the children are bringing that constant trauma. And if you listen and sit down and talk to children, they'll tell you about everything that they know that's happening in the neighborhood, in the community. I can only imagine what's gonna come out. Because it's fair. The fair just started. What are they going to talk about when they went to the fair? What's the issue? Or what did anybody get into any kind of conflict? But no, you don't get anything like that. I mean, I've checked every possible thing that comes in the mail, and I'm not getting any response to that. It's like just a momentary thing where we can have a forum, we can have a what's the word? We can have, a quick conference. We can gather together. We can do a march. We can do a walk. We can do this. We can do that. But it hasn't solved anything, and it hasn't slowed down what's happening. And the fact that, a couple of years ago, you'd hear gun violence 3, 4 in the morning, like them wild hours, them crazy hours. Now you're talking about it's 8 o'clock at night, 2 in the afternoon. I mean, what's happening? And that's children are still up and wide awake at them prime hours. So I don't know. It's frustrating. And I know as an adult, I feel like I have PTSD. I can only imagine what the children going through. So yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, the taxes have to be paid, right?
Right.
And the salaries associated with the taxes are being issued out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as a working armed citizen, as a public educator, one of the most vital positions in this district, there is no help.
No help, none whatsoever.
How does that work? How does that work?
I don't even know. And okay, so take that, right, and combine on top of that the fact that you're passing bill after bill after bill that is actually going to stifle the teacher's creativity, the teacher's. Because think about it, when you go to school, your objective is to become a critical thinker. Your objective is to think openly and broadly. You're not supposed to write a structured piece of text. If you're learning to compare and contrast different ideas, you want your ideas to flow, but you're getting bill after bill after bill that's literally stifling what the teacher can do, stifling the amount of knowledge a child's supposed to receive. I mean, I just recently posted an article that talks about how hard it is for teachers, especially teachers of color, to teach about Black History Month. Black History Month never used to be a controversial topic. It just was every year. I mean, and then when it started to get kind of boring was every year you realize that only three Black people they talk about is Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, and Martin Luther King. I mean, okay, that began to make me mad. I'm like, can we talk about some other Black people? I mean, but that was the most controversy surrounding Black History Month. Now it's like something to where people are so sensitive about it that kids are not actually participating in events. They're not learning about it. They don't know when it is. They're just like, what happened? So let's talk about some of these bills, right? Okay, hold on. Let's go into some of these the bills. I think the first one is what, SB 148. 148, I believe. Let me go back and make sure I get it correct, because I hate, the last thing I want to do is have it incorrect. Okay. It is the one about people and their feelings. Let's talk about their feelings.
Is that the woke bill? The woke bill that really don't spell woke? Is the acronym really spelled WOAKE, but he just forgot the A because he
forgot all that.
I can't.
Yes.
Legs.
So the bill
can't even spell woke.
Exactly. It would bar teaching. Let's read it. Flying all the way, flying.
And snatch him out of there.
Swoop in and snatch it. Swoop in and snatch it. That's when you swoop in and snatch it on up. The measure would bar teaching in grades K through 12. It would make individuals feel responsible for the historic wrongs because of their race, color, sex, or national origin. So you and your so it's a I'm in my feelings bill. That's what let's just call it that.
In a nutshell, that is the great description for it. I am in my feelings.
In my feelings bill.
Because the woke with that.
That's just so dumb. Dumb. Just dumb. But yet in the same, right. Lean into the side. But at the same time, we also have mandates for teaching Black history. It's in the curriculum. It must be in. You have to teach it.
Isn't that one that was also like it's a website and everything to go with it, and it's like
everything.
Y'all not talking to each other? Like what we doing?
No,
what we doing?
No, it's like we don't, right. It's like pulling up to the McDonald's window and you ordered that quarter pounder with cheese and fries. When you get to the window, the little girl hand you a Coke and she had your Coke and an apple pie. Sis, you didn't talk to the chicken at window number 1? You didn't know it was window 1. So yeah, that's in my feelings bill. So, and what's interesting is when you're teaching this generation, they don't take it so personal. They just like, man, that really happened. But it's like the ones that's the old fogies, as I call them, they still mad about that. I don't want you to know what I did to you. But it's history.
It's the fact that they take that word I literally. We know the I is not directly you, but that I is attached to those individuals that robbed African Black folk, Negroes of their generational wealth, that they too would
Right.
have a claim in the event that everything was stripped from them. Like we don't acquire a lot of that because of the fact that it was taken away. We built this. We built it. The White House. We built
This
it.
entire country.
Nursery. We people that look like me. We built it.
That's correct. And that I think the big fear is because just like with the fact that they really can't get over the fact that even though we are not, if you think about it, we're not that far removed from the civil rights movement. We're not far removed from
Not at all.
Jim Crow. We're not far removed from slavery. And they are shocked with the fact that Black people have gotten this far, this fast, right after slavery. And so imagine if every Black person realized, wait a minute, the only reason why we're not further is because we were held back for this many years. And if all of us literally woke up and start saying it's time to take everything back, that's what's terrifying to them. That's what's terrifying. Wait a minute, I'm going to start at this point. But that's why these systems are being put in place. That's why all this stuff is being put in place to keep us back. And so they can't do it with slavery anymore. So what we're gonna do it with? We're gonna do it with redlining. We're gonna do it with banking regulations. We're gonna do it with credit. We're gonna do it with imprisonment. We're gonna do it with test scores. We're gonna do it all kinds of stuff. Look, we're gonna do it.
And it's amazing.
We're gonna do it.
How you can identify any let's say component of our everyday life, what makes up, an adulthood. Let's say that economics, transportation, housing, and you can identify in each one of those categories how there was something embedded there to make it a barrier so extensive for us as a people that only a small percentage was able to overcome it. Isn't that crazy? But we don't want to talk about
every
that
facet
at all.
of life.
And then what's even more crazy, for those of us that were able to get over it, that y'all so silly, y'all don't want to tell nobody. I'm done.
Right. It's the hoarding of information. You don't want to share with nobody how you got there. It's like crabs in a barrel. It's like, okay, wait a minute, hold on. I made it. And I don't want you to know how I made it. So, but here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be blind and act like I didn't have struggles. So you can't understand how everybody else can make it. How come nobody else can make it? Wait a minute, hold on, partner. Everybody ain't been in the same situation as you. Every single person. So the people who quote unquote made it, look at your circumstances versus somebody else's circumstance. Why wouldn't you help someone else out who may not have had the same starting point as you did? I can't. So
Diana Williamson said, in Hillsborough County Public Schools, reaching out to mentorship programs and accounting to bring more mentors into the schools. I can't really speak facts to that, but I do know that there has been conversation around it. I know at my site we have the USF Bulls come in and do some academic support for the kids. And I do know that we still have organizations like Men of Vision, Gentleman's Quest, Bubba. You have those organizations that are out there. I don't know how well they are advertised in the district, but they are 3 out of the 100 that's needed. Let's say that. And I do know that all of those organizations, excluding probably one, there is a dire need of funding. Like these organizations are functioning, on the bare minimum, and yet they're doing, the best they can with what they have. But if they had the funding that is once again funneled into to our district to the same organizations that get the funding every single time based on the demographic of students that live in 33610, 33605, 33619. If we actually identify where those students are going to school and, funnel some of that money in, we might be able to get a better response. But that's just my little old opinion. Denise and I both have mentorship groups. When COVID kind of hit, we spiraled back, we scaled it back a lot because once again, we don't want to put that strain on parents, having to go here, go there, bring them here, do this, do that. And we don't have space. We have tried to secure a consistent space on numerous occasions, but most places that have space would rather have their buildings empty to be able to say that I can collect the dollars through a certain word and keep the doors closed. But yet I am serving my people in this community. And I'll keep all of it, very blanket that way. But I do know that we have several of those organizations blocks away, 1 or 2 blocks from each other. But in all honesty, they're only serving the adults to a minimum, but they're missing the generation that needs them the most. And I will leave it at that.
Absolutely. Yeah, because let's just say, you have to understand, let me just say it as harshly as I can. You're going to die. You're going to die. I don't know what else I could, what other way can I say it? You're going to die one day, right? And the youth that's left behind, if you're, let's just say that, if you're unsatisfied with the product that's coming out of the neighborhoods right now, great, do something about it. Say to yourself, I got to pour some more funding in, because if these people are going to take care of me as I get older, or the real question is, will they take care of you when you get older? Because once you've given and given and given, sometimes some people don't look at it from a perspective of, I've taken everything I can. Thanks for giving me all this stuff, and I'm just ignore you. So just pour into the children, pour into them in such a way that they're an asset to society. They're giving to society. That they care about the people who are older than them, and then they're respectful. And that's something that's like that's a struggle. Remember, we teach middle school. That's that fragile age where they just, if they don't have the right amount of guidance, if they're not getting the people to truly guide them and pour into them, they could go astray quickly. Okay?
Quickly. And before we leave this conversation about these bills, there's also the bill that basically is attacking the LGBT community. There's no other words for it besides attack. And there was so much hard work put into creating safe spaces for children at school that identify with whatever. I'll just leave it at with whatever. And now you are putting educators or anybody that works on a school campus in the position to where if a child brings forth something that they feel comfortable enough to speak to you about that falls in any of these categories that can make a peer feel uncomfortable, now the teacher has to make the decision. Do I support this child in this conversation, or do I shut them down? And now they don't have anyone to reach out to. So we are going to be crippling teachers as it relates to some of those relationships and safe spaces that many of our youth need. And I want to know, have they even considered what we already see as high suicidal rates amongst a specific population of children, with those children being, that it's just that. And if we're going to do a disservice to our children, blatantly be prepared for the consequence that's going to come behind it. And that's going to be some of our children taking their own lives. And is that what we're saying we want? And if you're saying that's not what we want, then why aren't we so loud about pushing back to these issues that are going to be detrimental to the overall just children? Why are we so quiet? Why is it that the minority in all of this being, vocal about it, and the majority wait till we're on the other side of it and then say, I didn't know. Right. Only way you didn't know that you just chose to scroll past because it's been out there too much for you not to know. At this point, no one can use the the language of I didn't know. No, it would be called I chose not to know. So
I chose not to be informed.
Something.
That's I chose not to be informed. So you have that as a major one, and that is of high concern because yes, now it goes back to the children's trauma, children emotional health. Okay, so now where's your counselors? Like we're already short staffed with that stuff. So how are we going to help our children? But then here, continuing on with the other crazy stuff they talk about. There's two more. The one with the cameras in the classroom, microphones on. Yeah, okay, so you think
that already? Listen, when I went to the high impact training in Orlando. That topic came up real briefly when one of the Florida Department of Education individuals up front. Do you know in many counties in Florida that already exists? Girl. Yes, in many counties in the state of Florida, they have already installed cameras in the classrooms. Every single classroom. I don't want to misquote the counties that it's in, but in that room that we were in, it was a hodgepodge of many counties. And I think Hillsborough and I want to say Polk was like the two that stand out to me were like the ones that didn't have it. Jacksonville didn't have it either. But all the other counties that were represented, yes, they're already in the classrooms.
And the part that's crazy about that is okay. I can get the hallways because you don't want kids destroying stuff in the hallways. But in the classroom, but then the other part is the microphone too. I mean, so first of all, you talking about violating people's rights. Oh, my child can't wear a mask. That's a violation of their rights or whatever. Like, but what about the teachers' rights?
We have none.
I mean, so. Of course, we have to. I forgot what it was. Bianca covered it the other day, but what that one school district that said they wanted the teacher to have a lesson plan for the entire year. I thought that was the funniest thing.
And I'm gonna say this again. Listen, not to cut you off. Some people in that same room, they have to submit them based upon semesters. So before they go back to school, they have to submit lesson plans for the first semester. And then when they come back from Christmas break, they have to submit the other semester. So it's already currently happening in the state of Florida. It's happening.
And you're talking about how do you even know? I mean, okay, I understand. Okay, just like a curriculum. Okay, because my thing, what I would do is just give them the whole entire curriculum book and say, here you go. There's the lesson plans for the entire semester in this book right here. But the thing about it is like when you don't even know when you get the kids in front of you what you have to reteach, what you have to pause and do, so how can you tell me right now I'm supposed to know right now what I'm supposed to teach come September of next year of this year? So it's like it's and remember, none of this you get overtime for. So again, if you work the contract, how is that even possible? It's going to get done and still teach and still do everything that you have to do. So it's like the craziest type of micromanagement you've ever seen is on teachers. So I'm just like trying to figure out who does this. That's why I would love regular people, or all the ones who are making all these rules, because a lot of times the ones who are making these laws and passing them and everything, they've never set foot in the classroom. Come in here and try it. That's all we ask you to do. Just come in here and try it. Just spend the day. Spend the day, walk around the school and get cussed out by a couple 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds, and then let me know how you feel, because I saw some of this past week. Yes, that's how they talk. Don't do this. Don't clutch the pearls.
Were they
clutch them all the way. They clutch the rep just like this and lean back. I said, that's how they talk. Your turn. Since you're telling us how to do it, your turn. Go ahead.
Snatch them out of there. Snatch them. So, what we will say to you all, those people that we stand in the lines to vote for, those same people should be able to take a phone call and listen to you as a constituent. Those same individuals should be able to get an email. And those same people, we should be seen visible in the community beyond doing the things that they enjoy doing as it relates to community work. Let me just say it like that, because there's more to all of this. Because as much as we yell education, 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 and we see the spiraling of downfall of education, 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 we don't hear enough about education.
Right. It's the one thing you love, but you love to hate us about it. So you love the children getting educated, but you hate the teacher. You know
You
the
love when they
dynamics that
leave
I've
the
seen over the
house.
past. Yes, you love it because you don't want them around you. But let me tell you the part I love in the past 2 years. What I've found the love, I call it the love hate relationship of the teacher in the past 2 years. When COVID first hit, the kids went home in March of 2020, and parents would just, you could scroll through Instagram and Facebook and see how many posts was out there for teacher. Yeah, man, I know you had it this hard. We appreciate you. Man, that much of love that we had for probably a good 4.5 months
For
turned
a
into
moment, huh?
utter hate and disgust. Yeah, utter hate and disgust. But it's when you coming to get these kids, and then when you finally do get them, it's like y'all ain't doing enough, or why you call them out? Okay, I mean, how you go from absolutely worshiping us to turn around and saying that we hate y'all so much? Don't teach my child this. Don't say this to my child. Don't do this to my child. But can you help too? That's the thing. Help us help your child be better. Because it's impossible to do it all. It's literally impossible. And we want to make those positive phone calls and positive, say positive things. That's wonderful too. But when your child can't come in, so which leads us to the behaviors. Your child just can't come in and literally just tear up the room, tear the place apart. There was a video that came out this past week. It showed this one little girl. She tore the whole classroom, and the teacher took
Oh,
all the
I
kids out
saw
the room.
that.
The teacher took the kids out the room and was like, okay, I need all the kids to leave the room. But the child was just, I don't know what the underlying trauma was, and you get that part. But the child was just tearing the room up. But it's one of those videos where people need to understand this is a lot of times this is a situation we encounter. And now you got to take the rest of the kids and expect them to get back to a place mentally where you can stop and teach them. Okay, but what does a teacher do in that situation? They have no choice but to stop the entire learning environment, which is because the child literally stopped the learning environment and remove the kids from the learning environment. So, and that's a trauma. That's just one instance of trauma that the kids are going through because we don't know what could have triggered that child. That child hungry, sleepy, tired. We don't know what it is. But just understand, we need to help. If just help us. And then remember, as we get to middle school kids will pick on each other for by a variety of things. It's like it's never fails to amaze me how a set of people who don't buy nothing, who don't have no money, tease each other about shoes. How, you ain't bought them shoes. What what you what you
The,
tripping over?
the level of importance of things, because we place so much importance on things but not knowledge, and I will leave that alone.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
that part. So FSA
right.
is quickly approaching,
Yes.
and our school board superintendent and his executive team and school board members have put forth a letter to what's his name, Cochran, is I saying his name right?
Mm-hmm.
As it relates
Cochran
to,
or something like that.
us not receiving a grade once again because of all of the you name it, everything that's happened up until this year.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
but I find it so funny that yes, the letter has went forth, but there's no reprieve in the classrooms because the state's still coming.
Right.
We still receiving the same. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this, and the push, 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 go, 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 now, now, now. Like it is so intense on a lot of school campuses, and all I know is if you want us to do the job, let us do it.
Leave me alone.
Let us
Leave me
do it.
alone.
If I was
And I
able
have to add
to,
to that.
yeah, if I was able to get done what I got done when we was in the heart of COVID, let me at least try to scale back and put things back together to a place that our children, can understand. Yes, this test is important, but it does not determine where you truly are at because you got some missing years. At this point, you came with 2 to 3 grade levels behind. Now we need to add 1 to 2 more on it. So it's a years with the S. So give me the opportunity to get them where they need, and then determine after this year if what I put forth, did it work or not? Because my track record show that it worked. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And don't have an attitude when people sick and tired of your meetings. I just want to throw that one more time. People sick and tired of your meetings. Meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. And yet you haven't walked in and pulled the child up. But then walk in and just keep on walking. Just walk in and want to tell you what you're doing wrong. But have you come in, sat down next to that one child that come one day a week? Because you didn't get that part. That child come one day a week and want to ask me about strategies. The child come one day a week. Let's do some background research first of all. How many days a week the child come to school? So of course the child lacking some information or lacking some stuff because the child don't come to school. So we're looking at so many factors. Start by saying, wow, this teacher is doing the best they can with the tools that they're given. And now if you really remove all this extra testing, but since they insist on testing, just remove all this extra stress. Just like April said, stress. You're stressing me out for what reason? Because you're not helping me. You're not pulling the kids out. What is it? I'm going to do some pull-ups and do some, in one-on-ones and stuff like that. We ain't doing none of that. We have yet to do any of that. But why? Look at what all of us are doing. Covering classes a million days a week. So why put added burden on what you expect me to do when we all can't do what we need to do? All of us together. Ain't none of us doing what we're supposed to do. Hey, matter of fact, look, just last week, the only thing my principal ain't been is the bus driver, because she was a bookkeeper about 2 weeks ago.
Listen, I was in there. Look, they've been doing the thing, been around the world, and
Right.
I can't find my job. I'm just doing everything I know how.
Everything.
There's no sun be showing. Yes, that type of stuff.
I'm surprised she's the cafeteria lady.
Exactly. Look, and it's good to know that we have administrators that are willing to step in and do what they know needs to be done. But we do want to invite you all to jump over to the Teacher for the Culture site. Tonight, we're doing the State of Education and Mental Health Town Hall, featuring one of our board members, board member Karen Perez, where we're going to have conversation around, again, the state of education as it relates to mental health. And I know that some of us may feel as though, everything is going well. Well, not so much. Don't believe the hype. So in order to, have conversations around this, we have to be intentional about showing up to hear the information. So then you can take your information and share out with your friends and family so that, again, we make education become the forefront of the necessary conversations in our households and amongst peers and at our jobs so that we can hold individuals accountable about what is working and what's not working as it relates to our children here in Hillsborough County. So it starts shortly. So we're going to wrap this thing up.
Wrap it up.
So again, we thank you all for joining us this evening. We're Diversity and Equity in Education. And I'm April Cobb with April's Beauty Bar.
I'm the Diva D for Carved Out Divas.
And we
and we would like to say good night, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.